Morning. Happy Tuesday, Biology 135 students. It's Mrs. Powell here. I just wanted to make a quick video for you to talk about your final. Remember, your final will cover two chapters. It will cover chapter 9, photosynthesis, and chapter 10, cellular respiration. There were five big ideas from the two chapters. They were: describe how ATP is useful to cells. Describe what happens during the process of photosynthesis. Identify how organisms get energy. Explain how cellular respiration works. And explain the relationship between photosynthesis and cellular respiration. So those are five main ideas. If you can answer, or you have the ability in your notes to answer those questions, then you've covered a lot of the questions that are on the final. Okay? So those are the five big main ideas. Now let's go through chapter 9, photosynthesis. Some main vocab words that you're going to want to make sure that are highlighted from your notes, or maybe define them on a separate sheet of paper. ATP, photosynthesis, chlorophyll, light-dependent reaction, light-independent reaction, electron transport chain, Calvin cycle. Okay. There were 3 sections in chapter 9. From section 1, basically it was the definition of energy, and then it started talking about how all organisms get their energy. So think about where your energy comes from. Okay, what are you called because you have to eat your food? What are other things called that can make their own food? That's 2 vocabulary words. Okay. Section 2 was called photosynthesis and overview. That's where it went in depth and talked about chlorophyll, chloroplast, and the pigments and how it all worked. It also defined independent, light-dependent reactions. And then in section 3, the process of photosynthesis, this talks about your photosystems 2, photosystems 1. ATP synthase was all discussed in that section. C4 plants and CAM plants. Okay? I would, again, make sure I know a couple more vocab words would be stroma, pigment, ATP, light dependent. The green pigment of plants is called what? Maybe a short answer question here. What is the importance of photosynthesis for all life? How is energy captured from the sun? Okay. That was chapter 9. All right. So again, if you don't know or you need to make sure you have your notes available when you take the final exam. So all of those things that I just talked about, if you just want to highlight them in your notes, that will draw your attention to them, so you're not scrounging looking for them for 10 to 15 minutes each question. Okay? I would encourage you to read through them again and again maybe today. It's not what I would call studying, but just reading through them so you're familiar with where things can be found on the page. Okay? So let's talk about chapter 10. Chapter 10 was cellular respiration. Important vocabulary words for chapter 10, obviously cellular respiration, anaerobic, aerobic, glycolysis, Krebs cycle, fermentation. Okay, all important things, vocab words from cellular respiration. Now, in cellular respiration, there were 3 sections. We just merged ours all into one. Let's see, things that we should know. Obviously, for both photosynthesis and cellular respiration, we're going to need to know those equations. So make sure those are highlighted in your notes. The difference between aerobic and anaerobic, and then the difference between photosynthesis and cellular respiration. Okay, we've covered all of those things. cellular respiration, we talked about being broken down into 3 parts. So remember, we have glycolysis, Krebs cycle, electron transport. This is what we did across our picture notes part 2. We did glycolysis, Krebs cycle, electron transport. Remember, after glycolysis, if there's no oxygen available, then it skips to fermentation. There were 2 types of fermentation. Make sure that we know those. Other things, when we're talking about the fermentation, just like which one is quick spurts of energy in our body, which one provides us long-term energy without oxygen being available. And let's see. I don't think I've talked about a calorie, but it'd probably be a good thing to know what a calorie is. A calorie would be the name given to energy stored in foods. Some short answer questions. Where do heterotrophs get energy? What happens during the process of glycolysis? And how do organisms generate energy when oxygen is not available? Okay, so make sure you have your notes. Make sure you're set up for success. So you have your notes and you've highlighted those notes and you're prepared because you've read through those notes a couple times before you're ready to take Mrs. Powell's final. Okay? Again, you can use your notes. You just will not be allowed to Google the answers. Okay, and I write my own questions, so when you Google them, it's gonna give you not what I'm looking for. Okay? I'm sure that you are so excited about your first round of finals if you're taking them. I look forward to seeing you. I hope you saw the note about extra credit. So if you need or want a little extra credit to go on second quarter, show up in your holiday wear. Okay, that could be a t-shirt. Here's my Bob Ross Happy Little Trees hat, glasses. I don't know, whatever you think. School appropriate, of course. And then when I take attendance and see your smiling faces, I will add your extra credit on before you take the final. Okay? Have a great day. When you log on to take your final, make sure you use the link assigned to your class only because there's different links. And don't stress out. You can do this, okay? This is the last week, and then we're going to take a sweet break from all of this stuff and have a good time. But socially distant, wearing our masks and washing our hands. Good time. Okay? See you guys.